Have you ever paused in the middle of a conversation because someone corrected you about something you swear you remember differently? Perhaps you were confident the Monopoly man had a monocle, or that Berenstain Bears was spelled Berenstein. And yet, the evidence suggests otherwise. What if I told you this isn't just a memory slip, but could be something far more intriguing? A crack in the fabric of reality itself. The Mandela effect gets its name from a strange collective memory. Thousands of people recalling Nelson Mandela's death in prison during the 1980s, even though history tells us he was released and later became South Africa's president. But this phenomenon doesn't stop with Mandela. Entire communities of people share vivid false memories, ranging from the color of Pikachu's tail, it was never black-tipped, to iconic movie lines like "Mirror, mirror on the wall," which was actually "Magic mirror on the wall." These aren't just passing curiosities. They hint at something profound. Now, some scientists argue that these are simply quirks of human memory. It's true, our brains aren't perfect filing cabinets. They reconstruct memories rather than replaying them. But if that's the case, how can millions of people misremember the exact same detail in the exact same way? Doesn't that raise a question? Could there be another explanation, something that challenges the very way we perceive reality? Here's a practical exercise to get you thinking. Take out your phone or a notebook and jot down a memory you're absolutely certain about. Something specific, like a line from a favorite movie or the logo of a product you grew up with. Now, look it up. Does what you find match what you remember? If it doesn't, how does that make you feel? Confused? Uneasy? Or maybe even curious? This, my friend, is the beauty of the Mandela effect. It invites us to explore, to question the boundaries of what we think is real. And before you dismiss it as a trick of memory, ask yourself, what if there's more at play here? What if these instances are whispers of a larger, hidden truth about our universe? If this makes you feel like a character in a mystery novel, that's the point. The Mandela effect isn't just about the what, it's about the why. Why do these glitches occur? Why do they feel so vivid and personal? And why now, in this moment in history, when we're increasingly obsessed with the nature of reality itself? Could it be that the Mandela effect is nudging us to look deeper, beyond the veil of what we accept as fact? But here's where things get even more intriguing. What if these so-called errors in our memory are actually evidence of something far greater than ourselves? A ripple in the timelines, perhaps? Or even a hint that you, sitting here reading this, might not belong fully to this version of reality. Let's delve further into the science and mystery behind these clues. Stay with me. This is just the beginning. Let's begin with the logical explanation. Your brain is lying to you, or more accurately, it's reconstructing the truth in a way that feels convincing, even if it's wrong. Neuroscientists have long studied how memories work, and the findings are both fascinating and humbling. Memories aren't like videos stored in your mind. They're more like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle your brain reconstructs every time you remember something. And here's the catch. Each time you recall a memory, your brain subtly rewrites it, influenced by emotions, suggestions, and external cues. For example, let's say you distinctly remember the Monopoly man having a monocle. The truth is, he doesn't. So why does this image feel so real? Psychologists might point to something called schema theory. Essentially, your brain associates concepts that logically fit together. A wealthy man in a tuxedo? He probably has a monocle, right? It's your brain filling in the blanks based on patterns it recognizes. But here's where it gets strange. How is it possible that millions of people across the globe, from different cultures and backgrounds, share the exact same false memory? Surely, schema theory alone can't explain this. And this is where science begins to intersect with something more mysterious. Some physicists have suggested that the Mandela effect could point to the existence of parallel universes, The idea is that we might be experiencing subtle overlaps, moments where timelines brush against one another. Think of it like two radio frequencies crossing, creating static and brief moments of distortion. Here's an experiment for you. Pick one of the most popular Mandela effects, like the spelling of Looney Tunes versus Looney Tunes. Reflect on your own memory of it. Do you feel a sense of certainty, or even frustration when you realize it's not what you thought? That gut feeling, that emotional reaction, is what makes this phenomenon so compelling. If it was simply bad memory, would it hit you so personally? Now let's push this further. Some researchers in quantum mechanics propose the existence of a multiverse, an infinite collection of universes where every possible reality exists simultaneously. What if these alternate realities occasionally intersect? Perhaps in one timeline, Nelson Mandela did die in prison, and the memory bled through into this version of reality. Sounds far-fetched? Well, not so fast. Scientists like Hugh Everett, the pioneer of the many worlds interpretation, argue that every decision creates a branching universe. So why couldn't these branches occasionally overlap? If you're skeptical, that's good. Healthy skepticism is the beginning of all great discoveries. But think about this. The Mandela effect isn't just about memory, it's about possibility. It asks us to consider that the boundaries of what we call reality might not be as fixed as we think. Still with me? Excellent. Because as compelling as the science might be, it only scratches the surface of this enigma. What happens when we combine science with ancient wisdom, mythology, and even spiritual perspectives? Is it possible that humanity has always been aware of these anomalies, but explained them in different terms? Let's explore that together in the next step of this journey. After all, the answers may not lie in what we know, but in what we refuse to see. Long before the term Mandela effect entered our modern vocabulary, ancient civilizations whispered about the fluidity of reality. Myths, spiritual teachings, and sacred texts often hint at a world far more malleable than our rigid perception allows. Could it be that these ancient stories were humanity's first attempts to explain what we now describe as timeline shifts or parallel universes? Take, for example, the concept of the Akashic records in Hindu and theosophical traditions. This mystical library is believed to contain the past, present, and even future knowledge of all souls. What if these records aren't just symbolic, but are literal echoes of alternate timelines? Imagine for a moment that every mistake in your memory, a name mispronounced, a face you swear you've seen but can't place, could be access points to fragments of this greater archive. Let's look at Norse mythology. The Yggdrasil, or World Tree, was said to connect 9 distinct realms of existence, each representing different dimensions of reality. Could this ancient belief be an allegory for the multiverse? Similarly, the Aboriginal Dreamtime stories in Australia describe a spiritual dimension that overlaps with our physical world, a place where time flows differently, and the past and present coexist. Doesn't this sound eerily similar to the modern idea of timelines blending? Here's something practical to ponder. In your daily life, start observing moments of synchronicity, those eerie coincidences that feel too perfect to be random. For example, have you ever thought of a long-lost friend, only to have them call you out of the blue? Or seen the same unusual symbol repeatedly, almost as if it's trying to tell you something? These could be signs of subtle shifts in reality. A useful exercise is to keep a synchronicity journal. Write down anything that feels out of the ordinary. Patterns, repeated numbers, unexplainable feelings of familiarity. Over time, you may notice a story beginning to unfold, one that connects your experiences in ways you didn't expect. Ancient cultures also emphasize the idea of veil thinning, moments or places where the boundary between dimensions grows weaker. Think of locations like Stonehenge or the Bermuda Triangle, where countless people have reported strange phenomena. Even today, Modern spiritual seekers talk about energy vortexes, like those found in Sedona, Arizona. These could be spots where our reality intersects with others, allowing brief glimpses into parallel worlds. But here's a question for you. How do these ancient accounts connect to the Mandela effect? Were these civilizations merely using metaphors to explain the inexplicable? Or were they experiencing the same phenomenon we now see as timeline glitches? What if their myths and teachings hold the key to understanding why these anomalies occur in the first place? The truth is, ancient wisdom often contains answers we've yet to fully grasp. We dismiss myths as mere folklore, forgetting they were once treated as sacred truths. Could the Mandela effect be a modern manifestation of these timeless stories? And more importantly, what does it mean for us as individuals? Stay with me, because this is where the lines between ancient mysticism and cutting-edge science begin to blur. If myths were humanity's way of making sense of these glitches, then what can modern experiments teach us about harnessing this knowledge? And could we, through understanding the Mandela effect, begin to unlock tools to consciously interact with parallel realities? Let's take this deeper in the next step. The answers might be closer than you think. Now, let's step into the realm where ancient mysticism meets cutting-edge science, the quantum world. It might sound intimidating, but don't worry. We'll break it down together. Here's the thing. Quantum physics is unraveling mysteries that echo the Mandela effect in ways even the most skeptical minds can't ignore. Have you ever heard of the many worlds interpretation? This theory, proposed by physicist Hugh Everett in the 1950s, suggests that every decision you make creates a branch in reality. Picture this. Every time you choose coffee over tea, smile instead of frown, or turn left instead of right, a new universe splits off. In one universe, you're sipping tea. In another, you're enjoying your coffee. The idea that there could be countless parallel versions of you isn't just science fiction. It's backed by quantum mechanics. Here's where it gets fascinating. The Mandela effect could be evidence of these realities crossing paths, however fleetingly. Have you ever looked at the famous Monopoly man and knew he wore a monocle, only to discover he doesn't? What if, in another timeline, he did? Quantum entanglement, where particles are connected regardless of distance, might explain why we remember these alternate versions of events. It's as if information is leaking through the seams of the multiverse. Let me give you a relatable example. The famous double-slit experiment showed that a particle, like an electron, can behave like a wave or a particle depending on whether it's being observed. It's almost as if reality adjusts based on what we expect to see. Could it be that our collective belief in these Mandela effect examples, like Berenstain versus Berenstein Bears, actually shapes the reality we experience? The observer effect isn't just a quirky experiment. It hints that our consciousness may play an active role in the fabric of reality. But here's the big question. Can you use this knowledge to test the limits of your reality? Absolutely. Start by challenging the concept of fixed truth. For instance, take a fact you believe is unchangeable, like the spelling of a word, the color of a logo, or a famous historical quote. Dive into old books, media, or records, and see if discrepancies arise. Document these anomalies, just like scientists log their experiments. Over time, patterns might emerge that suggest shifts beyond coincidence. Want to push further? Explore lucid dreaming or meditation as tools to tap into these alternate realities. Tibetan monks have practiced dream yoga for centuries, training themselves to remain conscious while dreaming. Similarly, you can begin to control your dreams, potentially accessing glimpses of alternate versions of yourself. A simple exercise. Before bed, visualize an event you'd like to revisit from a different angle. Ask yourself, what would this moment look like if I had made another choice? Over time, this practice may uncover memories or visions that feel displaced yet oddly familiar. Science is also catching up with ideas like the holographic principle, which suggests our universe might be a projection of a higher dimensional reality. If this is true, the Mandela effect could be like glitches in a cosmic projection, a sign that we're peering beyond the veil of our programmed reality. Still not convinced? Think of CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Many Mandela effect enthusiasts point to their groundbreaking experiments with particle colliders as potential triggers for timeline anomalies. While this might sound like science fiction, it raises an intriguing question. If smashing particles together can alter the very fabric of reality, could it explain why we collectively experience memories that differ from our current timeline? And here's where it gets exciting. If quantum theory and the Mandela effect are linked, what does that mean for you? Could you, armed with the right knowledge, learn to step into these parallel realities and consciously shape your path? Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll explore how to move from passive observer to active participant in this mysterious, multi-layered universe. Now that we've walked through the evidence, theories, and tools connected to the Mandela effect and parallel realities, let's get to the most exciting part: how you can use this knowledge to become the architect of your own reality. Imagine for a moment that these glimpses of alternate timelines aren't just anomalies. They're invitations. Invitations to take control, to explore, and, ultimately, to shape the course of your life in ways you never thought possible. If the Mandela effect shows us anything, it's that reality is not as fixed as it seems. So how do you begin bending this reality to your will? First, it starts with your awareness. Train yourself to notice the details that others overlook. For example, keep a reality journal. Write down strange occurrences, memories that don't align with current facts, or moments of déjà vu that seem too specific to ignore. Over time, you'll start to recognize patterns in these glitches. Let me give you a practical way to amplify this practice. Incorporate visualization techniques. Every morning, take 5 minutes to vividly imagine yourself in an alternate version of your life, one where you've already achieved the goal you desire. Picture the sights, sounds, and emotions of living in that reality. The key is to feel as if it's already true. Visualization isn't just wishful thinking, it's backed by neuroscience. Studies have shown that the brain doesn't fully distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, meaning you're literally programming your mind for success. Now, let's push further. If the Mandela effect hints at the existence of multiple timelines, why not actively choose the one you want? This isn't about magic. It's about aligning your actions, beliefs, and decisions to create a shift. For instance, if you've always wanted to pursue a career that feels just out of reach, act as if you're already living it. Start small. Dress the part, talk to people in the field, and immerse yourself in the knowledge of that world. Over time, you'll notice opportunities aligning with your intention, almost as if you've stepped into a different timeline. Meditation can also be a powerful tool in accessing parallel realities. Use guided meditations that focus on connecting with your higher self or parallel versions of yourself. A simple exercise is to imagine a door in your mind, a portal. Picture yourself opening it and stepping into a version of your life where you've made a different choice. What does this version of you know that you don't? What advice would they give you? Writing down these insights after the meditation can offer surprising clarity. Let's also address a fascinating possibility: shared reality shifts. If many people collectively remember something differently, like the Berenstain/Berenstein Bears, could collective consciousness play a role in shaping the timeline? What if the Mandela effect is proof of our interconnected power to influence reality on a grand scale? You can experiment with this idea in small ways. Try discussing a vivid memory you have with friends or family. Notice if others remember it differently. Could it be that by focusing on a shared memory, you're tuning into a different version of events? And finally, never underestimate the power of curiosity. The more you learn about the world, quantum theory, consciousness, ancient philosophies, the more tools you have to shape it. Read books like The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot or Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland, which dive deep into these ideas. Join communities of like-minded explorers who are asking the same questions. The more perspectives you gather, the clearer your picture of reality becomes. But here's the twist. The Mandela effect isn't just about discovering what's out there. It's about discovering what's in here, within you. What if the memories that don't align are your subconscious nudging you toward a higher awareness? What if those moments of confusion are actually moments of opportunity? Whispers from a parallel self urging you to evolve. This is where the journey truly begins. Because the more you explore, the more you realize that the boundaries of reality aren't boundaries at all. They're bridges. And what lies beyond those bridges is something only you can discover. So, are you ready to take the next step? Because out there, in the vast multiverse, a version of you already has. Now it's your turn to catch up.